Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video, we're going to be talking about leveling in the Midnight expansion of all things. So, a lot of news has been coming out with Midnight, and people are gearing up their characters on retail, and some people are still trying to play Miss Pandaria Classic, and so there's a lot of stuff going on right now if you're a WoW player, and I haven't seen this particular news anywhere else. And I barely ever get on Twitter. I happen to be on Twitter. World of Warcraft tweets there because, I do a lot of World of Warcraft stuff, so that's suggested to me. And I see this tweet and I'm like, oh, a little interview, like a 10-minute interview that Ian did at Gamescom. And I'm like, I haven't seen this anywhere. I haven't seen a Wowhead post. I haven't, maybe somebody's covered this, but I haven't seen a YouTube video about this. This is the first time seeing it personally. And so I get to this part where, it's mostly stuff that's already been announced, stuff that we've got in a video or stuff that we got on a Wowhead post or stuff that I've done a video about, anything, right? It's mostly stuff like that. But then I get to this part and it's very, very interesting to me because it brings up something that I've been harping on for a very long time. And so basically when you level up in Midnight, so let's just get into it here. When you level up in Midnight, you're going to start off in Silvermoon City, they said. So, and the areas around Eversong Woods and all that. You're going to start there, do the first chapter there. Then you're going to have a choice. You can either go to Zolomon and do the troll stuff, or you can go to Haramir and do the Haranir stuff. But there's a third choice, and this is the interest. So having a choice is good, right? Okay, I can go here or here. That's good. But there's actually a third choice that I think is extremely interesting as a way to level up your character in an expansion, and something that I've wanted for a very long time. And this third way is you go with Arator. So Arator, I believe, I don't know all the lore, is the son of Turlin and Illyria, I believe. But that family, you go with that family and you level up, and they're like your quest givers and stuff. Going to places like Light's Hope Chapel and Strathholm. I think those are the only two he mentioned specifically, but who knows? Maybe like Uther's Tomb, Western Plaguelands, Tyrion's like city up there that we never used in Western Plaguelands. Who knows where we're going to go to during this quest line, but this is extremely interesting to me. Again, I've seen nothing about this. When I'm on beta, this might be the first thing I do. I'm gonna go through that first chapter as fast as I can and go and do this if it's available on the beta and see what this is all about, because this is extremely cool to me. For me, what I've always said is I want them to reuse the old stuff, reuse Eastern Kingdoms and Kalmador. I am a vanilla player. I played back in vanilla. I'm just not a classic Andy. I can't play that slow style anymore. I've gotten much better at the game. I can't mindlessly do my molten core and that level of stuff anymore. However, I love the old zones, and I love a lot of the aesthetic, and I love a lot of the story as well from the old version of the game. In Legion, they did this very well, specifically even with Light's Hope Chapel, right? That's where I do my Ret Paladin videos from a lot of times. That's what I use for the thumbnail on my Ret Paladin videos, is Light's Hope, the Paladin base under Light's Hope Chapel. And yeah, this is extremely, extremely exciting to me, because Legion was a huge success in part because of that class fantasy, but also in part because you were going back and using old stuff. You were going back to, the Lich King, the ICC with Death Knights. You were going back to Light's Hope Chapel with Paladins. There was this thing of reconnecting to Azeroth, reconnecting with the old world, right? And this is very cool because, yes, this is going to be way more Paladin themed, maybe even priest themed, with going in and see about the light. I'm sure there's probably going to be some void stuff as well. So maybe even like shadow priests or warlocks or something could have some interest doing it from a class fantasy standpoint. And of course, anybody might have interest doing it if you just want to go do stuff in the old world. But this also sets the stage, in my opinion, and hopefully, right? I hope this is a success. And what I hope it does is it sets the stage that in future expansions, and I can think of an example for the War Within, right, that they could have done, that when you can tie any of the new story in with the old stuff, maybe develop a pathway there to experience the old world. I think that would be very, very, very cool. So in the War Within, for example, when we're doing all this stuff in Dornogal, and we're helping Magni, and we're helping his son Dagron, I don't really know. I guess it could be Dagron, but I think it's Dagron. When you're helping them out, when you're helping Moria out, what if you had to go back to Cosmodon and do quests there and help some stuff going on at Ironforge, right? What if you had, hey, we want to help you guys, but we need your help back at Ironforge, and you have to go back there and do stuff. Like, and of course, especially if it's an option and you don't force people to do that. For the people who only want the new content, I think they should be able to only do the new content. But having a pathway and an option to go back and do the old content is just really, really, really cool to me, really. So again, he doesn't go into depth about this, but he just says Light's Hope Chapel, Stratholme, a couple other interesting places as well. Arator and Illyria. So I was right on the people there. But he doesn't go too far into it. It's just a little quip from this interview, but this is a big deal if it ends up being kind of cool, right? Of course, it has to be a little bit cool, too. It can't just be complete nostalgia bait or whatever. It has to be a little bit cool. But this would be extremely, extremely interesting to me. And like I said, it's probably going to be the first thing I check out in the beta. I'm hoping maybe that they usually do a lot more interviews too, so maybe we'll get a little bit more of a deep dive on this. But I just wanted to put out this video because, again, I hadn't seen this anywhere. If I wouldn't randomly, I would normally not watch a 10-minute video on Twitter, and I would have never seen this if I didn't do that. So hopefully maybe we dive deeper into this. But again, it's not so much about this specifically. I'm a Ret Paladin main, so it's very cool to me to go to Light's Hope Chapel and stuff like that, right? But I'm saying in the big picture too, because this could open the door for other things. Go back to the Undercity for some reason, if you're, it's something to do with the undead. Going back to, spoiler, I do think eventually they're going to rebuild Dalaran in the original site. So maybe going back and doing that at some point in an expansion, right? Even in a patch, right? You have a patch come out and the storyline connects to another zone. So you go back there. We saw that a little bit with the Undermine going back to the BFA zone a little bit. So we're seeing a little bit of this connection points. Let's continue that, and let's get it as much into Eastern Kingdoms, and let's get it as much into the initial 3 expansions as we can. The first and then the first 2 expansions as we can. Even Cataclysm I might include in that. Let's get it into that original area as much as we can on the nostalgia. But I don't mind going back to BFA. We did that just in this patch as well, going back to Stormsong Valley. BFA's great zones. Why? Like, BFA wasn't the most loved expansion, but the zones were great. So I don't mind going back to BFA. I don't really want to go back to Shadowlands if I don't have to. But I'm fine going back to a lot of places. Even Pandaria, right? Pandaria Classic's out. I don't mind going back to those places. And we did that again too. We did that a little bit in at the end of BFA with Nyalotha and going back to Pandaria for one of those zones. So they have done it a little bit, but this is a very interesting way to do it, and hopefully means that they're going to do it more, because I do think players love this overall. So yeah, I guess I don't really have, I could wax poetically about this forever, but until we get more information, I will save you having to hear me talk about this forever, which I probably could. And we'll call it quits on this one and just look out for more news on this. So that's it for this one. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.